friends, hello. I'm here to let you know that we have a very special guest today. Hi, Ron, Pants, Boo, Patrick, Ziggy, Yazan, Vince. How's everyone doing? That was my Neil Diamond imitation. So our special guest today is Rogi Horner. How many of you are familiar with Rogi? I conducted over 700 interviews on FX Street in LAR, and Rogi was one of my favorite interviews, so Rogi Horner. So you'll probably want to stick around for this one. Okay, Pants. Yeah. Okay, so yesterday the Fed minutes were squishy. Okay, they were pretty squishy. You know, Janet, everyone knows how Janet is. Well, we have to be sure that the data is much here before we really tell you we're going to start taking some of reducing our balance sheet position. And I don't know if we should do it in June or not. Yeah, Jess, I thought I'd give you a little Janet yelling porn. Okay, anyway. So, yesterday I also said that if we did get a sell-off, I expected there to be a higher low. That's intact right now. If we could just close over the 50, I think we have a move to 97.60 happening. If you're long the dollar or euro, whatever your poison is, you got to get out of the way under the lows that were made last night. Give me Y if you get it and you're with me. No screen. That's right. Thank you. Blake normally reminds me. There it is. Thank you, Kevin. Okay. So we made this higher low after the Fed sold off. Euro did not make a new high. So it's an either or for me. I still think they squeeze some of the dollar bears here, head up to 97.61. Euro's really just the inverse picture of it. It may try and pop again, but I'd call this a failing rally so far. This was a red candle. I'm not saying we can't bounce from here, but under this low, I think we're vulnerable to 1140 and possibly 1060. Just want to point out, if you really don't have to be a genius to figure out good numbers. If you can add and subtract, multiply and divide, you could find good numbers. Okay, so here's kind of the line in the sand. Down here, 1160, high 1260. Just subtract 100 pips, could take us down to 1060. That could turn out to be an excellent buying opportunity in the euro, in my humble opinion. The pound still, I'm trying to be patient with it. We keep getting these spikes. Someone's selling it up here. I wouldn't want to see it take out, if you're bearish, is 30-12 level. Aussie, I'm negative, but because Blake is constructive, it tempers my bearishness, but really failed from a pretty significant area here at 75. We start taking out 4.5. I think there's another leg coming. Everyone with me on that? USD CAD, this could turn out to be just a little bear market rally here. Still pretty ugly. In fact, when Steve Volge is back here next week, I bet we got to his line. We talked about a line. He showed his charts on Canada. He's still, he's just having a nice meal by the coast in Cyprus today on the ocean. But I bet it got down to Steve's line there. So US dollar Swiss, something that Nick talked about yesterday. It's trying to hold. I'm not crazy about this RSI reading, but I don't think I'd be short down here either. I wanted to just point something out for people that are long euro pound. Just something I'm seeing. I'll take it to a 4-hour chart. And something Nick mentioned yesterday too. She had some type of descending triangle or a triangle line coming in at the 87 level on the daily. And I have two drives here now, okay? I think she had it right up here above 87. I still think we'll make a move towards that, but besides triangle resistance, I think what's setting up here is maybe a third drive, right? Everyone follow my cursor. Here's one. Here's
Dale.
two. Hi, Steve.
Hey,
How are you, bud?
good morning from Limassol. How have you been?
Good morning.
We are actually, yes, we are actually set up. I don't know if my internet is good. It seems to be decently okay, but we're set up so we can, as promised yesterday, so we can actually share some charts and see some
Okay.
market.
All right, let's try it. In fact, I was just talking about you, Steve, that...
Yeah, I heard about it, but I initially had a little bit of a problem with my microphone, but it's now fixed. I spoke at that moment, but you couldn't hear me, so I had to restart it, and now everything seems to be okay. Is my sound coming okay?
Yeah. It sounds like you're snorkeling in Cyprus.
No, although I have to tell you that that's not an assumption that shoots too far away from the truth, because I don't know if you can see me.
I can, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking good. All right. Living the life.
We're actually...
Look at that.
On the sea.
Wow. Yep. So it was a good idea for you to go there, huh? Hi, Stelios. You guys had a productive and great time there.
Yes. It was very nice. It was indeed productive. And the climate is fine. Actually, I was a little bit worried because Cyprus is usually warmer than Greece, so I was afraid that we might have, quite hot days. But as it seems, we got lucky because the weather here is at least these days very equivalent to what we have. So the temperature has been perfect, and the weather has been very good with us.
Great, buddy.
Everything went great. I mean, everything on our visit, we had no problems. Everything went very smooth, and as you said, it was productive. We'll talk all about it later.
Okay, buddy.
We have some interesting market developments because we've been monitoring during the night.
Okay, I'll pass it over to you. I'll complete my rundown a little bit later. So I'm just going to pass it over to you.
I'm here. You can complete your rundown. Okay, whatever you want. We can do it with whatever else you like.
Go ahead. I just provide the only other things I really wanted to touch on were the yen crosses. And guys, I'm still negative guppy. I talked about. In fact, I will take it back from you, Steve, just for a minute.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. But everyone in here is very jealous of you guys. I am, that we're not there. We're sitting, I'm sitting in Temecula, California, wine country, God's country. But you know what? I miss the water. My favorite place I ever lived was right on the ocean in San Diego in Leucadia. And I would trade Elliott waves and hear them at the same time. So that was my favorite place I ever lived, right on the beach. It was my backyard. So that's my dream. I tell everyone still to have a dream, and I plan on doing it again. I did it for almost 8 years, lived on the ocean there. I was very fortunate. I had a very low rental cost to be there before everything blew up.
Driven personality, Dale, so I'm pretty sure that whatever you set as a goal, you're going to make it happen.
Well, I know I am now that I'm part of this team. So here's the guppy, guys. I just want to show you, when you look at it on a daily, look at this action right in here. It's barely correcting. All right, so I don't think it's going to take much. I don't know if it's going to be a pound break or a US dollar yen break that takes it down, but you can be wrong over today's highs now if you took that. Yesterday, an area I gave was right around the 520 area. and it actually did come all the way back from here to take out some stops. See that? That's a stop hunt. So I still think there's a chance we're going to break down and roll over one more time in Guppy. And the last yen cross I want to cover that I talked about yesterday was Aussie yen. And I was talking about it here maybe in the 60 range. It had a little more upside. So if we could start taking this out later, and again, I'm tempering my objectives here because of Blake's view, and in case I'm wrong about the gold, etc., that I said we could at least get a correction. You know, this was 100 and 200 pips now, so 100 back is 82.80, 82.50 is 61.8 back. So you guys with me on all of my analysis here? And I'm willing to go over it if something wasn't clear. And now Lucas long from 25 closes euro long in reverse. Jess, you got it? Everything cool? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Volge now. All right.
I'm here, by the way.
Okay, buddy. It's yours. Start with the Canada chart, because remember a week or so ago you had a dotted line or some line. I said that's where it's going, and I think it was right around 33.40, and we got there. We got there.
Yeah, my only problem is that, can you see my screen, by the way?
Not yet.
Yeah, the problem is that I've said before from my MacBook, so I know what I'm supposed to do, but for some reason I don't see, the option to share my screen is for some reason grayed out.
Okay. All right.
Dale, did you make me you did make me a presenter, correct?
Yes, I did. But there's two of you there. The first one, I did it with your first connection. Should I try it on the other?
Yes, try it on the other, because I'm also connected from my house computer. I'm always recording the webinar as a backup to Velu. So, yes, probably you make the other one the presenter. Yes, please do.
Let's see if this works.
That's probably the problem then. Yes, that's good. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Okay. You know, we have Raghi Horner here today. You familiar with her?
Yes, and I will be listening into the conversation actually.
Yeah.
Okay, let me
Okay, so we have your charts up there, Steve.
Okay, as it seems there's a little bit of a lag though, but okay. No, yeah, from what I see from Stelios, because he's also watching. Okay, anyhow, now we have it under control. So you spoke about the USD, so let's have a look at it.
Oh yeah, it went underneath. Yeah, it went underneath the dotted blue line. How did I know? Remember, it was a dotted line. I'll never figure.
Yeah. Because you have an elephant's memory, as we all know.
I am. I'm really a lion, buddy. Okay.
Yes.
I have the heart of a lion. You know what you need to be a good trader? You need the heart of a lion. You need the spirit of a warrior, and the mind of a trader. Those are your three elements.
I'm going to write it down.
Okay.
So you remember that I was watching two zones for a rejection. One was 74.50, and the other one was the 75-20 zone. Actually, Sigma Squawk asked me for a chart on Friday, and this is the exact chart I posted. I mean, some days ago, and they said that, you know, I remain bearish below 75, 20 or 50. I don't remember exactly which of the two areas I said, because back then I think the 200 DMA was a little bit higher. So anyhow, as it seems, today's candle is showing some strong rejection. Of course, one candle is never enough, but I just want to reiterate that for me this is the line in the sand. So if today's rejection seems to be appears to be the real deal, fine. I mean, you remember that we had drawn this since we tested this line. So we did expect a reaction. We did get this reaction. If we now resume from current levels, everything goes as planned. If we actually close above this area, then we really need to reconsider. We might be we might be in some kind of more complex correction or whatever. So that's having to do with Aussie USD. Now,
Okay.
let's see, because we have other interesting charts, and one of them is definitely USD CAD. So just look at it. Let me take this off.
Yeah. So it took it out. It took it out, and it's holding an uptrend line.
Yeah. Look how important trend lines are.
Yeah.
Both these trend lines, the intermittent descending blue one and the channel, were there since a long time ago. I don't even remember how long. 2 days ago, we tested the intermittent blue line, and we actually created a hammer. That did not prove enough. I mean, that was a one-day reaction, but did not prove enough to hold it. And today, we seem to be reacting from the channel. As I wrote a couple of days ago, and it remains valid, any rebound to 36 is going to be a great opportunity for somebody to try to join the trend. I doubt that we're going to get that high if indeed this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know that Gregor was looking for a third wave to develop, which it did, and it does look like it. So I think probably that a rebound will probably stall lower, which is going to be probably 135, 30, 135, 40, 135, 50. It's very
that's what Gregor was saying. Yeah. So we completed this, and now we should get some type of ABC to get short. Next time, trend line test. You know what I say about trend lines? Their destiny is to be broken eventually.
To be eventually broken, and you're very right exactly about it. And don't forget that this tunnel was one of the reasons that helped me time the reversal here. And as you see, it's still relevant. So as you are right, this tunnel eventually is going to be broken. But until it does, I cannot stop respecting it, because as you see, the market has kept respecting it for a long period of time, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's respecting it. So this could set it up. Maybe, right around.
Maybe this will create the reaction to a wave 4.
Right.
As you said. Maybe. We'll see. For the time being, we see some kind of a market reaction from current levels.
Yeah, and also crude was a buy the rumor, sell the fact on the 9-month deal in OPEC.
Exactly.
So,
crude. And actually, I wrote analysis on crude yesterday, that we were here yesterday night, and the thing I wrote, you remember that we had seen together this trend line before when I zoomed out the chart. And you remember we were somewhere here the last time I was on the webinar. I mean, I was actually showing charts on the webinar, and I told you that perhaps now we're looking to testing this very important trend line that has produced lows and highs in the past, and perhaps we will get a reaction from there. For the time being, as it seems that applies, we have a confluence here. It was the confluence of the resistance of this ascending channel, this very important horizontal line, and the 78.6. And the market, of course, you always need a trigger. The trigger, as you very well said, was the whole OPEC deal extension. Iran is saying other things, and the Saudis are coming out and are saying other things. They're getting the market a little bit confused at the moment, but the fact remains that the market is going to do what the market wants to do. And when the market usually wants to find the trigger, it's going to go ahead and find the trigger. And what I wrote yesterday night was that we're currently bouncing on confluence of resistances, and for sure there is no risk reward to be long here for any reason. Of course, we need to see a break below this ascending channel, so we can perhaps, if you remember, we had also drawn this line. I had said back then that when we test this level, perhaps we do something like this to retest this zone and move higher. So it remains to be seen. But as you see, for the time being, it's moving on plan. I mean, I would expect that it's very likely, seeing today's outside for the time being, and actually this is not going to change the fact. What we have for the time being is an outside day. That's not going to change no matter what happens for the rest of the day. So we do have an outside day, and if we close lower, this is also going to be a key reversal. So I would definitely be looking for a retest of this zone
So that ties in a little short-term correction to the downside in crude and to the upside in USD CAD.
At least, because if you remember, one of the favorite things I keep saying, which is one of the favorite things Greg keeps saying, is that, you take it, you apply minimum targets at the time. I mean, who knows? Oil might get destroyed from this point on and never look back. I doubt it. I'm just saying it as a fact.
Right.
The only sure thing is that you can keep monitoring the levels and say that, okay, I'm expecting that level to be tested. Now, if you remember, I was also expecting a specific level in USD yen to go long, but I never went long because the way we tested that level was not of my liking. So,
that's a pearl. That's a pearl, and I think people should write it down. It's not just the price, it's how it gets there that matters.
The structure, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Write it down.
So, depends on the way we're going to test this level. If we seem to be reluctant and we seem to just be, softly selling off to find some new balance, yes, I might actually be buying here. But if we like have 2 destructive days for oil and, minus 4%, minus 3%, etc., it's obviously going to show us that something else. There's a different dynamic in this market. But as a general game plan, yes, I'm currently looking at this zone for a possible buying.
Okay.
Needless to say that
Nick is in the, go ahead, buddy. Nick is in the house. I just want to let you know.
Oh, by the way, Nick, if you can hear me, I'm in a restaurant anyhow. So whenever you want to take over, people will be hearing it since Monday. You can go ahead and take over. It's absolutely fine.
Nick had something published by CNBC. I think it was a Bitcoin commentary. So, Nick is a celebrity.
I would really like.
She's a celebrity.
Nick is anyhow a celebrity for whoever is, into trading, etc. Everybody knows.
Oh my God.
Everybody, look at this.
I am not a celebrity.
Yes, you are.
Everybody knows that. You are, something. I had heard one, this is going to be funny because it's completely unrelated to trading, but once I had read a critique, a review about what makes die-hard heroes so popular with people. And they said that, somebody was writing, and I liked that Bruce Willis is, so popular and this role is so nice because he's a reluctant hero in the sense that he never wants to be there and he never wants to be the hero, but no, he gets into that. So you are a reluctant celebrity. That's what I think, Nick.
Good metaphor, buddy. So, Nick, would you like?
Interviewed me yesterday, and they said, we can come out to your house tomorrow. I was like, oh no, thanks.
Hey, look, it took me more than one invite to get Nick to come on to FX Street and interview her. So, and you know how charming I am, right, Nick? And,
2 years.
It took what? 2 years?
2 years, I think, yeah. So bad.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Dale.
It's good. You tested my patience, and I learned to be persistent. So, I'm not afraid of no.
By the way,
in sales, the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. That's my philosophy. So,
yeah. There was a saying about there was a saying, I don't know if you know it. There was a gentleman say about the ladies, Dale, that went like that. When a lady says no, she means maybe, and don't take that the social. When she says maybe, she means yes, and if she says directly yes, she's not a lady.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very dangerous in today's world. Believe me, these days when girls say no, they mean no. Sorry.
So Nick,
it wasn't. That had nothing to do with what I mean. That was a very old saying, like 200-year-old saying. So yes, that applies to what you had in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, you know those misogynist greats, you know.
Oh no, that's far away from the truth, and you know that. By the way, I'm looking forward to hearing what Nick has to say about Bitcoin, but I'm going to give you two pieces of information that I think are very interesting. For people that have visited our website, they know that we have most hours of the day customer support through a very nice application called Intercom. I have to tell you something. One of the most, I mean, we usually get support questions, or somebody wants to ask a question about how, something on the site functions, or something about the registration or whatever. But during the past, I would say roughly week, 10 days, something like that, we are getting insane amount of questions from people that are not subscribers or whatever on the site, asking if Bitcoin is going to break to all highs. So for the first time, actually, people are using Intercom mostly to ask, because we had written a blog post about Bitcoin, so obviously they're finding that through the internet by Googling Bitcoin.
I think I'd be very happy, and I know Greg has charted it today as well. I'd be very happy if we took down maybe the Mexican or the krona and replaced it with the Bitcoin for a bit, just because there's so much interest.
That's absolutely fine, and I'm up for it completely, and I think Stelios is as well. But I have to tell you something. People from all over the world, and especially poor countries, and I'm saying that because this brings in memory a lot of things, are asking about Bitcoin. So people that most probably are not traders by default or by profession, or are not actually into trading for a long period of time, are just looking, they're seeing titles everywhere about Bitcoin, and they're suddenly out of nowhere looking to invest into Bitcoin. We had a similar situation with stock market bubble in Greece in 1999, when actually even peasants and people that were, in all kinds of professions, were just putting all their money in stocks. And this Bitcoin mania reminds me, and the tickets we keep seeing, like, do you think that it's going to go to all-time high next week as well? Or questions like, do you think that Bitcoin is going to replace all other money? Do you think that Bitcoin is here to stay forever? Do you think blah, 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 etc. A billion questions you can imagine. Yeah. This is definitely in a phase of mania. There is no question about it. Even if you see at the chart, tell me how many times in a serious instrument, financial instrument, you keep seeing RSI hit levels above 90. 90. Yeah. I mean, this thing might go to 3,000, to 4,000. I really don't know. But I know one thing, that it's going to end very badly for the people that get involved, because now that poor people and people that have no connection with trading or electronic currencies are piling in their money, usually those are signs that you see very close to a top of some kind.
Yeah, you know what, Steve? Poor people can't afford $2,700 for something.
You're right. You're right.
So I mean, these aren't poor people that want to go in.
No,
but you're right. It is the public. Anything that triples in 3 months. Go ahead.
I knew people in the Greek stock mania that had like 10,000 euros on the side. That's it. That was all their money, and they just put it in stocks. So yes, they did have some money on the side, but is a person that has 10K on the side a rich person? No, not by any means. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 3-4 Bitcoin.
Yeah, I knew people actually back then that they were taking loans to invest in the stock market. And those people not only ended up losing their money, but they actually lost money that they had borrowed with a decent interest rate to repay in the future. So I really am a lot worried about this. Anyhow,
let me know when you short it. Let me know when you short it, okay?
No, to be honest, I want to tell you something, Dale. I don't intend to be involved. I have never been buying in my life or trading penny stocks, and for the opposite reason, because this is the other side of a penny stock. I mean, this is the other side of the coin. Right. I'm not going to be involved with Bitcoin as well. I know how to make money trading things that are definitely more liquid and obeyed to gravity and the rules that I understand more clearly. This feels more like a casino to me, and believe it or not, I'm nothing close to a gambler. I mean, I might be a trader, but I'm always assessing a risk, reward, and statistics before I do something. You know what I mean? I'm never
Yeah,
just like gambling. And I know, but and I'm just explaining to people. And this chart is, you know, in my eyes, translates like a roulette of some kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure would have been fun to be long something like that.
No question about it.
Yeah.
No question about it. But
I would have had a real hard time sitting with it unless you just use some type of trailing stop, you know. When you have parabolic moves.
Now while we've got his chart up, you can see that 2800 level is a big 2618 extension of the wave to year-long, you know, retrace and consolidation in Bitcoin, and so I think it'll be, you know, when you see a stair climb like that, you know, and the volatility, I think that we'll definitely stall there. We might have a little look the other side, and if we see a correction, you know, for a long-term healthier market, we could correct all the way back to that 1618 at, you know, 1787. I've got mine. You've got, you know, 1800.
I'm going to hand over the charts.
Very close. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I don't need them. Okay.
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about the peso because of the DSI.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, the peso. Okay.
Yeah, and the krona. But there's Nick's charts
Nick,
now.
go ahead and take over. We'll be here.
All right, Steve.
Can you...
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Yes. So if you go down to daily chart, you can see, you know, you look for reactions at the other fib levels. This is the 113. This is the 1618. So it gives you confidence.
Yeah.
It worked at the 236. It gives you confidence that everyone's looking at the same Fibonacci levels that you are. So I think on the weekly, you know, that 2618 is a really big deal. And if we saw a setback here, back to 1800, then I think that we'll go all the way to 4400. Yeah.
Well, now you're talking crazy, Nick. Now you're talking crazy.
This is China, but, you know, they've gone crazy for it.
It is. I mean, you know, and I'm sorry, I've been listening in the whole time.
So I posted this when we were at 1800 and everybody said it was a bubble. I posted it on Twitter and said, if we close above 1800, we're going to go to 2800, and everybody laughed at me. And here we are. So, you know, we could do it again easy.
It can. It definitely can.
I think, you know, if we see another correction like we saw, you know, 2014, 2015, then, you know, I had a friend, you know, like a lot of people in trading, you know, people who do, James and I had a friend who told us to buy Bitcoins when they were $11 and there were no exchanges.
Oh my God.
So I bought some.
Are you still in it?
No, lost them. Sold them at 220 and thought I was a trading genius.
Oh God.
And now, like, it's so bad when I look at this.
Oh God. That's like I bought Netflix at 6 and I sold it at 20. You know, those types of trades. But you know,
that's what I mean, Blake. Don't you either have to be naive or greedy to be there for a parabolic move like this?
You do. It's. I mean,
we're too jaded. We're too jaded to, you know.
Well, because we're traders. I mean, that's the thing, right? We're traders. I mean, we have the trading mentality. It's not like, you know, your mom and pop, you know, investor just you know, sticking around for things. I mean. Yeah, I mean, Nick, that still is a good trade. You bought it at 11, sold it at 200.
I mean, you kidding me? 20 day.
We all thought when they closed the Silk Road down that would be the end, you know, of Bitcoin.
Right.
So we didn't think they'd go crazy for them in China. So.
But you know, this is a way that China's, you know, getting out of the you know, so many people are trying to remove liquidity out of China. And remember, there's been a big outflow of money coming out of China for the last 20 years, and this is now you're starting to get you had the institutional sellers for the last, I would say, 10 in China, whether it's real estate, stock market, and this is now you got the people. You know, this is their way to get their money out. So,
Isn't there, I thought I heard stories about a lot of Japanese money coming in too. Am I wrong?
Quite possibly. Yeah, quite
Okay.
possibly.
Well, Asian money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Go ahead.
sorry, Nick. I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted to comment on that chart that was absolutely crazy.
And we just gotta look at open your mind to the possibilities. That's all I was thinking. So
You got something setting up here in the peso?
yeah, no, the peso is just like a really good example. You know, this bounce here was to exactly at 23.6 we traced from the highs. So
Yeah.
you know, that's what I always like to look at for resistance. I think there's major support here. Look at all these lows, you know, down here at 1820 and 1800. All the fibs line up at 1800, 1798. I think that if we get down here, that this is where we'll see our bounce. So we've broken that symmetry. So this ABCD, I'm going to delete it. Is not valid. So you know, it's wave 5, and I don't know. I'm not an expert like Gregor. As far as I'm concerned, wave 5s don't really have very many rules. They can go crazy and on forever, but I do think that 1800, 1820 is where I'm looking for support. Big deal support at 1800. 18.00.
So that would complete it.
That's your 127%, right? Did you say 1825?
Well, 1820 is this previous low. I think we'll tick just, and that's the election night low.
Right.
There'll be stops and stuff under there. I think that we'll tick below it, and the better support is a little bit lower at the 1618 at 1799. Yeah.
It's amazing how many instruments have retraced the whole election.
Yeah.
You know, the peso, the euro almost did it. Yeah, many instruments have really, if you look at the stock market, steel stocks, you know, bank stocks, a few that haven't are the S&Ps.
Right, so the S&P, that's really interesting. So today is a new moon. Quite often markets make turns at new moons, so that means they might make a new, so we're either going to see like a new uptrend because we've broken to new highs overnight this is an E-mini chart, or we're going to see a reversal. You know, it's quite interesting because the DAX is quite bearish and the DAX is behaving as though it stopped. And quite often, you know, when you see a big move overnight in Asia, you know, in the US session, if you see it reverse, so if we see this reversed and we close down, you know, for me below sort of 23.90 today, a key outside day reversal, that would be quite a bearish trigger. If we hold above, then we've got another 50 S&P points of upside to the next target, which they come in between 24.52 and 24.59.
Nick, is my mic is still on, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, so you know, I don't know if you think this is crazy or not, but you know, I was talking yesterday about like me leaving out of town and how crazy it is, my timing. It's horribly crazy for me. When I leave, I don't know what it is, but the market just, I've just got this uncanny knack of allowing for amazing volatility when I leave. So I always prepare people, you know, hey, I'm going out of town. It's a scheduled vacation. Get ready for volatility. So, you know, I'm looking at the markets and how bullish they are. And I was talking about it yesterday, and I'm like, I've been telling, like, you know, just, you know, people that I chat with, you know, in the markets, and I'm like, listen, get ready to sell some volatility like Tuesday, Wednesday, because if you look at the market, it looks so bullish, and you're so right that everybody's been shorting equities, and
yeah,
they have, and I really think, okay, so my cue whenever you get some sort of blow off top or anything is just a rally, spike high, and I don't think 2450 is out of the question. So a move up to 2450, but a move back down by the end of the day to either break even or lows on the day or new or red on the day, that's your trigger. That's my cue. Like whenever I see like a blow off top, it is a, you know, in the S&P, it would probably be equivalent to a 50-point rally intraday. then we close at the end of the day at lows. And when something like that happens, that is a what you would call a blow off top or capitulation.
Quite often, you know, if you know, in a lot of markets, if you see them go to like in currencies particularly, if you see a big up move and then you see sideways consolidation at the highs, you know, a high tight flag or whatever, that's normally bullish. The only time I would say that doesn't work is if you see it at a market at new all-time highs or at significant new highs. If you see it just sitting on top going sideways, like that to me is distribution, and you shouldn't, like, you need to see new buyers come in. Like, we need to see people chase this higher today. Otherwise, for me, it's going to be a flashing warning signal.
Yeah, so back under 2,400, your green line, Nick, would be a failed breakout.
Yeah, and I have like a weird Fibonacci rule for this. So I'm just going to give you the exact level. It's 2397.75. There you go.
All right, thank you.
And that's
close enough for government.
Can
you get a little more specific?
Okay, I tell you what it is. It's the 886 of the last swing lower. Like, that's got to hold on a back test. Neat trick, and it works in oil.
So I didn't really get to talk a whole lot about, and I know we have a guest.
Okay, you can have the screen. I'm done. There you go.
No, I wanted to ask you.
A question.
I was going to ask you, is there anything else that's on your radar that you're looking at?
I'm a little, you know, this OPEC meeting is about to wrap up, and I'm a little bit bearish oil, which I haven't got up here, but I'll get up and I'll show you why. What's on here?
Yeah, the reaction from crude was, you know.
Yeah, like it's, you know, priced in. It's not, and it's extending the cuts without increasing them. When you think that U.S. shale oil has, you know, this is the continuous chart. It's not the front month July. And the reason I'm showing it is you can see quite clearly. So if this was A, so this is AB, and then this one, we've reached sort of 618, and it's the 618. You know, reversals, 618s are messy. If we could do a reversal here, what I think we could probably see if we reverse here is down to the 38.2 or maybe a little bit lower because of the stops under this head and shoulders neckline, and then back up here would be a Gartley and a bearish pattern. So we would come down here and then up here to one of these two levels. And before we start the next leg lower, that to me is the kind of path. Just because people, that's for the people that jump in on the new OPEC news, they'll get shaken out, then it'll go higher, and then we'll have some analysis checks.
Okay. Well, thanks, Nick. I appreciate that,
but that's,
I like the roadmap.
Obviously speculation, but
yeah,
that's kind of what I see normally. So.
And crude's a tricky animal, and I know you trade it quite a bit. It's one of those that I've never been successful at even analyzing it. So I can't say that. I'm not. That's not true. But I have a hard time, you know, with crude. Every time I try to trade it, I'm like, God, why did I even do that? And then
it's really good at squeezing people out, and that's why I say these are the kind of moves I'm expecting.
I get an oil newsletter from the Clampets, Jed and Jethro. You know, they struck oil in Beverly Hills.
Oh my God, the hillbilly. All right, so Nick, I'll take the screen from here. I'll just give some of my thoughts. And we always appreciate you coming in and your comments. So thank you.
Yeah,
so much.
Nick. Thank you, Nick.
Welcome. Bye.
You're breaking the glass ceiling.
Thank you, Nick.
Making... Go ahead, Steve.
Glass ceiling.
No, just said bye to Nick.
All right.
I'm going to tell you something, though. I would say of every profession, okay, you can do, like, and this is not, I'm not talking about banks or fund trading, but if you're a trader at home or trading for yourself or an investor, the market doesn't know whether you're a girl or a guy, and it doesn't care. It'll take your money.
Only looking at what it could take out of your pocket.
Exactly.
You're right.
Exactly.
You're right, Nick.
Great point. Great point.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Nick. And Steve, I hope you're having a great lunch over there, not drinking too many cocktails before you get out of there in Cyprus. And you and Stelios, hope you guys had a great time there.
Stelios and I combined have had 0 mL of alcohol.
Wow, where did that noise come from?
No idea, but not here.
Oh man, well I'll tell you, I would have at least had a nice glass of wine, as relaxing. But glad you guys have had a good couple of days there. We look forward to having you back. I just had a couple
look,
of
Blake. I like this look you have up here, Blake.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to. First of all, I'm still long the euro pound, and I'm not doing a whole lot. I got asked, what I'm looking at. I'm really not doing a whole lot right now because I'm leaving out of town here in a couple of days. So I don't want to get wrapped into any other positions in the market at this moment. So what I've been doing is I'm just maintaining my euro pound long as we're holding, the uptrend line. We had a hammer yesterday, which is, is surprising after the shooting star. You can see the shooting star right here. The previous day, I was thinking for sure after seeing that shooting star, we're going to come back down and retest this trend line. But basically, we retested the breakout point, and then we started higher again. So, I'm maintaining my long position. I don't have any problem with it. I am targeting much higher in the euro pound. I'm targeting towards the 89 pence level over time, keeping in mind that we have the UK elections coming up on the 8th, I believe, of June, and everybody's obviously very, very much expecting a huge sweep with Theresa May's party, and I don't know. We've seen this swing if you think about like the Brexit, originally the Brexit vote, the Trump election win, and then everybody thought, well, France is going to swing that direction too. But I think that the market, I say the market, the populist mentality is kind of starting to swing a little bit back in the other direction. We saw that in the French elections as Le Pen didn't take the presidency, and so I wouldn't be so sure that it's going to be a big sweep in the UK. So more as a tactical reason, as this one trader Uresh, he said, I was tactical short the pound, and you can say I'm really tactically short the pound as well, but I've got technical backings to do that, and with the euro as bullish as it is right now, and I still think the euro can see 115. I don't think that this is a move up towards 88 pence or even 89 pence, and Nick was even thinking maybe even close to 91 pence. I don't think that's really out of the question. It's not going there tomorrow. This is going to be a longer term prospect of the next couple of months. So that's the only reason why I'm maintaining it. It's not going to happen tomorrow type of thing, but looking at the euro dollar, this is a really key support. We talked about this 111.70, and this is something that I think that every trader should be watching. If you're looking for a dollar turn, and if you're looking for the dollar to really strengthen, you've got to see the euro dollar break below this 111.70. I mean, and until it does, it is bullish. But if it breaks below it, I am expecting a pullback towards 110. Now that's this is kind of what I'm looking for with RSI. I'm looking for this with price, but this is not a guarantee. This is something that I have to see them happening at the same time. Now, Dale, you mentioned that I'm bullish the Aussie. And you had your hesitations about being bearish, but yeah, and I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of neutral. I mean, well, the fact that we broke above this trend line is great. That's good for Aussie bulls. The bad news is you got the 200-day moving average, and you're really in just a big range. So I'm really more neutral than anything. Maybe playing the Aussie long against some commodity currencies or against some cross rates might be a better play for me. Or I look at this chart right now, and I really don't know what to do with it. So I could see it, like when I can look at a chart and I can argue oh, I can see it going up to 77 cents, or, oh, I can see it going down to 73 cents, and we trade at 75. Well, that's not, it really is. So, I mean, and I can argue either way. I mean, hell, I mean, look at S&Ps right now. We're rallying towards, we're at intraday highs on the S&P, but how about if we rally to 2,400 or 2,450 or 2,500 in the S&P? It's going to drag up some of these commodity currencies, and I could argue that we'll probably see the 618. You know, with the Aussie. Flip side is maybe the stock market does turn and goes into mass chaos while I'm gone the next week, and you know, I can see the Aussie trading below 73 cents. So, just on a correlation standpoint. So I'm really, you know, I can argue either both situations, and so when you're looking at the Aussie and you're like, well, I could see it being a little bullish here. I would agree with you, you know, and I'm not dead set on any direction with anything, but I will point out something that Steve already pointed out earlier. This is the dollar CAD, and we are sitting on trendline support, and I know he pointed it out. He was able to pull the trigger before I could, but we're on a 50% retracement. We are on trendline support here. The Canadian, remember, had extreme positioning. You know, a lot of people, but record Canadian shorts. So this move from 135.70 to 134, that was easy peasy. I mean, you know, we've been discussing this for the last week. It's like, okay, well, the market is extremely lopsided, and then we had a false breakout, a rejection of a 618 retracement on a weekly or, you know, basis. So to see us pull back to 134 is not that to me was a total given. The question is, what do we do from here? And I think a lot of that would have to, you know, do with crude oil and the dollar. I think the Canadian was going to be more of a innocent bystander at this point. So, you know, if you have crude oil that starts to roll over, that might give the Canadian a little bit of selling pressure and takes us higher, maybe back to the 136 level. The flip side is, if the dollar continues to get crushed, the Canadian could very easily drop through here and test the 200-day moving average of 618 and really be in for a world of hurt, because then I start looking at the Canadian at, you know, the like longer term trend lines that come in like this, and it's like, okay, what if these get taken out? And you know, and again, I think we're at a pretty pivotal area right here. And if I wasn't going on vacation to Mexico in the next couple of days, then I would probably be a buyer here in the dollar Canadian, try to swing it, you know, for a day or two higher. But I'm just not in that case, and I don't want to manage it, and I don't want to take my vacation on a sour note either, because I got stopped out of the dollar Canadian as it plunged through that trend line. But I do think we're at a pretty pivotal area for the dollar Canadian, which, you know, maybe with some sort of daily candle, and if you look at the daily candle right now, I mean, that's a spinning top. So, you know, with some more definitive looks, you know, later on today or maybe tomorrow, you might get a better sense of it. Also keep in mind, Dale, we're coming into the end of month, and not end of quarter yet, but end of month. And so there's going to be some end of month flows that come through this market, which could, you know, I could tilt the teeter-totter either way here. So again, I'm not married to any one thing here. You were showing the pound yen earlier, and I got to comment on it because you have a bearish outlook on the pound yen, and I couldn't agree with you more, Dale. This longer term view of the pound yen is, well, you got the obviously key resistance, which, you know, if you think about it from a longer term standpoint, your risk is really above 149, right? Well, 148.50.
Right.
And I know we're trading at 145 basically, and you're like, well, that's 300 pips, but you know, 300 pips is relevant, or is really more relevant to the size of position that you're trading. If you're like, well, I can't risk 300 pips, well, then, you know, you pare down your position size to a certain extent to where you can, or you know, you wait for it to rally closer to this resistance to be on the short side. But if you look at some of these like candles that if this is a daily chart, so you know, if you look at some of these candles like this right here, I mean that right there is a you know, a long upper shadow doji, shooting star, whatever you want to call it. I'll just put it like this. You see all these long wicks right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, all those long wicks suggest to me that buyers are having a hard time holding price, keeping price elevated, which, you know, if you think about it from more of a, you know, a trading standpoint, you're like, okay, I'm watching stocks rally to new highs, right? Stocks rally to new highs, the guppy should rally, with equities. We should be going up. How many people are actually thinking that right now? How many institutional traders are thinking that right now? Probably a lot. And so if you're not getting this rally up here with equities, eventually you're going to get buyers that aren't getting paid for being long. So if the equity markets do turn, we're probably going to see a turn lower. So, you know, Dale, I couldn't agree with you more on having more of a bearish outlook on the pound yen. I wouldn't know right at this moment where my trigger is to get in, but I think you'd have to look at more of a short term, you know, take a little short term viewpoint here, and probably look something like this and say, okay, well, you know, maybe as a pennant, you know, or a triangle or something, you know, looking for some downside right here, that might be your trigger. You know, again, if I was going to be around for the next week, I'd be focused mostly on this. If I was going to do anything.
And I agree 100%.
Oh, whoa! We got Grega. Holy cow! We got Grega here.
Might need you, Grega, because my guest isn't here, so might need you.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I completely agree with Blake. Also, if you take a look on 10-year US notes, we actually turned slightly to the upside in this week. So actually what I see is a 10-year US notes could actually break higher, which means that stocks could potentially find a resistance here, and this would probably support your pound yen bearish view.
Okay, and you know, one of the things, and I was talking to Dale about this yesterday, and Grega, Dale's guest is here, but I just want to confirm something with everybody that's here. And Dale and I were talking about having differing views, you know, on analysis, and I'm like, you know, that's the whole thing about ForexAnalytix is we look at, you know, several different analysis types, and it's okay to have differing views, because when Grega, Nick, Steve, Dale, or excuse me, Stelios and I, before Dale came on board, when we started this project, we're like, hey, is it good that we have differing views? You know, how about if I do a pattern and play and it's opposite of what you're seeing? That, excuse me, in my opinion, that's okay, because we're going to see markets differently, but it's important for our viewers and our users to be able to see all of these different viewpoints. And when you see mixed signals like you see in the Aussie, this is pretty indicative of what we're getting here in the Aussie dollar. I mean, you look at this is an aggregate and an algorithm of all of our different analysis and all of our different charts. These right here are independent analysis. And when you're not getting, you know, everything lined up, this is the system telling you that things are going to be choppy. But then you got a different system here where you got the US dollar, Norwegian krona, that's got our algorithms of all of our charts put together showing bearish, and then you have a majority, maybe not Grega, but Grega's on the fence here. You got a majority of our analysis are pointing in the same direction, and then that is confluence. And so when Grega and I have the same opinion, that is more powerful for you, the trader, or you, the viewer, because then we are all in agreement. And Dale and I, hell, you know, when we're looking at charts, we may say, hey, you know, I see this, and he says I see that, and we don't see eye to eye. So be it. It's, you know, that's what makes a market. But when we have viewpoints that line up, that's when it becomes really powerful, and that's why ForexAnalytix has had the success that it's had, is putting it all together for people at home. So anyway, Grega, thank you for your comments, and I'm glad that it matches up with mine too.
No problem.
Grega,
I will actually
I need to take a quick 2-minute break before the interview with Raghi, so you could go ahead and I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Okay. We'll take a 2-minute break, and then Greg and I can talk for 2 minutes. How about that?
All right, thank you, Blake.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be, I'm getting older on Saturday. Birthday time.
Hey, 35th birthday is never bad.
Yeah,
okay.
39.
All right. So what were you going to say, Greg?
Hi, Gregor.
Hey. Blake, please pass me a screen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's coming over. Here it comes. You guys stand by. I'm gonna switch it over to Grega. There you go, buddy.
Okay. Okay, so what I really wanted to take a look at is actually here at the top, I have the S&P 500, okay? And here, the second is actually 10-year US note. And notice that actually this decline of 10-year US note was not that strong compared to the rally on stocks. Also, from a technical perspective, this appears to be only a small correction on 10-year US notes. So if we assume that 10-year US notes could potentially move to the upside and maybe make another spike to a new high, I think that then this upside on stocks should be limited. Also, here I have the wave count, and clearly we have plenty of ABC pullbacks. So there was an ABC decline to May lows, and then we have a sharp rally and another ABC decline, and it appears to be that we could potentially break to the upside. So this would probably limit the gains here on the S&P 500, which is actually trading at this upper resistance line. So actually what I think it may happen, we are going into the weekend, so probably some profit taking and maybe a reversal lower, which would probably support Japanese yen. So actually, as you talked about pound yen, Blake, here is my take. Let me switch to 4-hour. What I see is completed 5-wave rise, nice decline, and appears to be a corrective rise now for a wave B. Also, as I said, pound yen did not follow move to the upside that we have seen on stocks. So it appears that when stocks will come down, this thing could easily break below 143.30.
That's a great look. Thanks, Grega, and I'm glad that we see eye to eye on that. And I know Dale's got to take his.
And it means that people are going to have a chance to get on board this one if the B wave takes out the stops over those wicks. So
yes, maybe B wave is already finished or still room for upside. But when you take a trade, definitely you need to put stops in the zone that market has room to breathe. So
okay, you're right. Let your trades breathe. I love that, Greg. All right, guys.
All right. Thank you, Dale.
All right, Blake, we're all in for a treat. Raghi Horner, welcome to FACE. I'm making you the presenter now. So looking forward to hearing your voice, and it's been a while.
All right, let's see. I'm unmuted. Oh, wow, the power.
Yeah, it's so great. Yeah, hi, Raghi. It's been a while. It's so great to hear your voice.
Good to hear you. I don't even know what screen I'm sharing at the moment.
You're showing simpler trading because...
Oh, that's the wrong screen. Okay. Let's see.
I think I know what you mean.
How's that?
That's great. I've been telling people, Raghi, that, I conducted 700 interviews, including Blake and Nick and, so many people. And the one I did with you, it stuck in my mind. You were one of my favorite interviews.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, I've actually never had the pleasure of meeting Blake nor Nick. I know them from basically Twitter. So it's really cool to sort of be able to meet them. I guess Blake's there, so nice to meet you, Blake. I'm Raghi.
Huge fan of yours. I'm really glad you're here today. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You know, Raghi,
Yes.
I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I really think that you broke the glass ceiling and made it cool for females and women to become
Definitely,
traders.
she did. Definitely.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
When I have a cool avatar like Nick does on my Twitter, I've always been so jealous of that. Like that,
because I remember you
that
on a
cartoon
motorbike.
avatar.
I remember you on a motorbike.
Oh yeah, I still have that one. Oh yeah, I still have that one.
See, so yeah, you're.
So I'm not putting you in the same class as Muriel Siebert, who was the first woman trader. That's the old era. Even though you and I, Raghi, used to carry around our commodity perspective, I'm talking about the modern era of once social media started and you were out there, you were out front, you were one of the first, and you paved the way for a lot of women to think it's okay to be a trader, to be an analyst. Remember back in the old FNN days, you hardly ever saw a woman giving her opinion on the markets, and now it's prevalent. So I think you were a trailblazer.
Wow, I didn't think I was old enough. Give Nick and I some time. We're still young. We're still young. We still have lots to do, right, girl?
Yeah, it's a state of mind. So great to have you with us. And I'm looking at your stuff here, and I just want to pose a question to you. What's on your radar screen?
You know, right now, I've been doing a lot more by way of some of the complementary futures contracts to some of my Forex trades, but, I'm pretty much a trend trader, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, and my largest position is still my long euro that we took into the pullback on the French election. It was,
Nice.
basically a 108 entry. I think the euro and the pound, even though the pound's kind of in a lumpy little stage right now, I think those are going to be two of the superstars going into the latter half of 2017. Not that I'm talking 6 months down the road, but I want to hang on to my euro longs and just find more of them. And if we can get a little bit more equities risk appetite, I'd like to pile into some more euro yen. So those are what's on my radar in probably the most intense way right now. And I think I'd love to see the dollar rip higher, maybe one more time, and I'd like to sell the heck out of that, and that means just buy more euro. So I'm kind of a skipping record right now. I just went on the euro trade.
So are you in the camp that this might be a secular shift in trend in the dollar? That we've been in this bull market in the dollar, depending upon your time frame. If you go back 20 years, it could have been a bear market rally. Well, but your view is that the trend is broken, and I know some of the short-term dollar bears, but long-term dollar bulls are open to the Dixie break into 92 before we get a big rally in the dollar. So where's your head?
I'm thinking? Sure, my head is right here. So this was mid 2014 to early 2015, and you guys remember the one word that we were just absolutely nauseated by, right? The whole taper. I find us to be in this early stage of that kind of move because, we're just waiting for Draghi to really just own taper. I mean, he started it, right? He did the most clever dovish taper in the history of taper where, they reduced asset purchases but extended the program out to December. Well, it's like, okay, nice try, Mario, but we know exactly what you're doing, and just go ahead and do it, own it, and then we're just going to buy more euro. So that's what's in my head. I think we're in that kind of mid-2014 stage on Euro US.
So could we retrace most of the Draghi decline that could take us back into the 140 range again, 135, 140, or are you looking at the big decline from 140, and although you're bullish through for a while, and I could tell you're pounding the table on it, would you look for fib retracements from the 140 high to the 103 low as being potential targets?
You're giving me a whole lot more credit than I probably deserve. I'm looking for maybe 125 That's like the
Okay.
first rung, right? So that would be a
Right.
good upside target towards the latter half of this year.
All right.
Anything beyond that, and I'm with you when it comes to retracements. Healthy trends correct, right? So if
Right.
someone's not in this right now, is it going to correct? Absolutely. I'm rooting for a few more FOMC fireworks, maybe some non-farm payrolls to help us out, give the
Yeah.
dollar a few rips higher, give me a euro pullback, and I'll just continue to take advantage of those. If this is a healthy trend, we'll get those opportunities for maybe those, 382 type corrections, of
Right.
so that's where my head's at. Yeah.
And how about the yen has been confusing for people, and there are people on very diverse opinions on the yen. I interviewed Jamie Satley, and he had some wave work that said, we could see U.S. dollar yen go to 150.
Wow.
And there's some people looking for the par level to be retested again. Do you have a view on it, or is it an I don't know trade for you, U.S. dollar yen?
Well, I look at the yen and then I want to ask myself, well, if I do want to short it, that means, I've been long the DAX via EWG, and I've been long in and out of the EWQ, the French MSCII shares, along with my opinion of the round 1, round 2 French election. So that's been good in that I know there's risk appetite emanating from there. I think the Nikkei is helping me out. I think the NAS is helping me out. The only reason I think the yen's been really stubborn to just weaken already is you look at the SPOOs, you look at the Dow, and they're
Right.
still in chop. I mean, chop meaning chop at the top of a trend, right?
Yeah.
But we're still not seeing that really convincing resumption of the uptrend. Maybe we see it now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
we do see that, if we see the Dow start to test 21,150 on the YM, all of a sudden I think my yen takes it on the chin, starts to weaken. But I'm not going to play dollar yen because, in terms of contrast, I don't know that I want to sell a weak yen against an already weak greenback. Why not go euro yen, right? That's where my head's
Yeah.
at. So I
Okay.
think about who the best candidate is to basically clock the yen, and I'd rather go with a stronger base currency there. So,
Euro.
yeah, I
Right.
think euro,
Yeah.
even pound maybe. I love what,
Yeah.
and I caught a little bit of what I believe Gregor was talking about in
Yeah.
terms of pound yen. I never met him, but I'm with him. I think after euro yen becomes pound yen for me. Yeah.
Okay. And it looks like there's going to be some decent retraces possibly for both that kind of tie in with what you're looking for in euro. That we had big moves. I mean, that was a moonshot from 115 to 26. So
I think we're
maybe
really
we are
early.
going to have a chance around 22 again, or 122 again to enter.
I think we're really early. I think we're so early, and I think people really shouldn't. I'm actually going to pull up Bitcoin because it reminds me of the Bitcoin story that everyone's talking about right now.
Were you there? Were you there on Bitcoin? I don't understand it.
I've been in Bitcoin since the election last October.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Right.
not in a meaningful way, more
Yeah.
in like kind of a fangirl, this is the cryptocurrency, this is the future kind of way, more like I want to hold this thing till it goes to 16,000 kind of way. When I'm 80, I'll
Okay.
liquidate it. If I don't get Mount
Yeah.
Goxed, that's my plan.
So
But-
where do you hold your Bitcoin? Do you have, people never have physical possession of it. It's a digital entry for you somewhere. Do you have a Bitcoin account, or do
Yes,
you own?
and the reason I brought up the Bitcoin is, I'll say the same thing about the yen or the U.S. dollar versus the euro. Wait for those pullbacks. Everyone starts getting so amped up when the thing makes a higher high. I will never buy a higher high within the context of a trend. And, I told people, hey, wait for those little pullbacks. They'll come back. If it's a healthy trend, if it's legit, it'll come back to you. So where do I own my Bitcoins? Here in my office, I actually have a few guys that are really savvy about cryptocurrency, and GDAX is where I think most people are holding their Bitcoins, but there's a way, and I'm actually going to figure that out today because I was told about it about a month ago. You can actually take your Bitcoins like offline sort of and put them on a USB drive, and that's something I think I want to do. I don't want to leave them out there on the interweb sort of. So I'm going to learn about that. So maybe we talk about that another time because right now I don't know how to do that, and it's
That's interesting.
GDAX.
Yeah, I mean, this whole arena has escaped me. So, you know, it's something I just don't, I really don't understand it. And, you know, the main argument is it's, you know, an alternative currency, the privacy aspect, and
Right, right.
they had a lot of great things going for it. Do you think it's Chinese money pouring in here?
Well, if you look at, there was a map I remember looking at last October, and for me, the Bitcoin trade was actually a really interesting play on my short peso play, because you could see the political, obviously, fallout on the peso, and as the peso fell, Bitcoin rallied. But I don't know what, I know that the Japanese have basically made it legal tender. I know the Russians have. I'm waiting for someone like India, where the rupee has been such problems, and you start to see Bitcoin used more there.
You would think so, because they eliminated all that cash. That it'd be a great alternative for them.
And I would not be surprised in the next 12 to 16 months to see something like that happen. But I've got about 30 Bitcoin, and I'm really starting to look at Ethereum because of, you know, you've got JP Morgan involved with this blockchain. You've got Wall Street. And I think when you start to see the shakeout, I think it might be Ethereum and Bitcoin amongst the 400 cryptocurrencies out there. I think it might be Ethereum's time, and I'm going to stop accumulating Bitcoin. I'm going to take a look at some ETH.
So is that $199 or $199,000?
$199.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a share of Berkshire Hathaway, right?
Oh, okay. All right. Great one. All right. So interesting. Yeah, I've been reading about this symbol, ETH. And so this is, how do you know, like you said, there's 400 out there. Are any of them scams?
Oh,
or it's just a matter, or are some of them, it's just a matter of getting sponsorship for them to come into their own?
That's a great question. I just kind of go to Coinbase. It's just Coinbase.com or Coinbase. And you'll see that Coinbase pretty much is going to watch BTC, ETH, and LTC. LTC is, I think, the second oldest cryptocurrency out there. I don't really know a lot about the others. That's pretty much where my attention is. LTC never really got any traction, and right now I think it's the Bitcoin high tide that's carrying even ETH and LTC with it. But I think when all that shakeout occurs, when we get that crazy pullback that I'm pretty sure we're going to see, I think it's going to be BTC and ETH kind of standing in the rubble of everybody else.
Does gold have a chance to make a parabolic move to the upside once we get some type of low in here? A lot of people are saying this could be a C wave to 1,500 or so, but you're bearish. Okay.
I'm actually, I've got puts in gold, and I'm which kills me. I'm Indian, right? I mean, I've got to be a gold bull. I mean, so you know, I'm waiting for, you know, I go show up in Delhi and they won't let me in the country or something because I'm a bear. I'm a near-term bear because I think I'm a near-term bear in the 30-year too, by the way. I think the ECB taper, I think the, you know, another 1 or 2 rate hikes out of the FOMC, and, you know, this isn't the negative interest rate environment where Dow, dollar, gold, and bonds all rallied. You know, I don't think gold is this fictitious savings and loan that all these negative interest rate countries now then, you know, were throwing their money into gold, almost treating it like a currency, right?
Yeah, so now there'll be, now there is and may continue to be opportunity costs.
I think that, yeah, I mean, I think as long as I'm bearish on the Fed Fund futures, and I think the ECB is going to do what I think they're going to do into the latter half of the year. I think when the Fed balance sheet conversation really starts to become a much more serious narrative, yeah, I'm bearish gold and I'm bearish the 30-year. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
How about, so when it comes to that, Raghi, is it possible, with your view on the dollar, I know that the S&Ps, you know, they've done well with a weak dollar where you've had nominal gains with dollar weakness and commodities have thrived. They've done well with a strong dollar. The recent rally we had really didn't put the brakes on the stock market. Do you think if you're right about upside targets of the euro and euro yen, that the market will continue to like a weakening dollar because it's takes a tail, you know, it's kind of a headway away from multinationals?
Well, I mean,
So,
I think if nothing else, if the market really is serious about buying euro, they have to sell dollars to put on that position. So just the mechanics of just all this, I've been watching COT data, just the mechanics of getting long euro is going to be a lot of pressure on the dollar. Dollar traders and the dollar have known that, we're going to see 2 to 3 rate hikes, and yet it's not like we're hovering around 102 on the prospects of this,
right.
75 basis points kind of year. So I think the further away we get from this next rate decision, where I do think we're going to get that quarter-point bump, the market's going to say, okay, thanks, dollar. We know the FOMC is hawkish. We don't know their trajectory. We don't care. The new story becomes, what's Mario going to do? It's not even Yellen and company. It's Mario and company. So I've got to be a dollar bear if I'm a euro bull.
But do we continue to, do you think there will someday be a 10% correction in the S&Ps?
I can tell you this. My crystal ball has been in the shop since I was,
Okay.
15, and I started trading. I don't know. I would love if there were. I would love another massive correction. If this market's sitting down, so you're talking about, gosh, I'd be bull in a pullback. I think for the most part, I hate to bring this up to like a Trump trade. I don't know that there's legs on that anymore. Are people still out there waiting for this tax cut narrative to take place, and how far ahead of that have we run this market? And when we finally get it, are we even happy about it? I mean, it kind of reminds me of OPEC and crude this morning, right? I mean, people are like, why is crude lower? They agreed to the 9-month because we already knew it, because we already discounted it. Unless they came out with a 12-month narrative, crude just wasn't going to break 52. So I think it's a similar psychology on equities. When we finally get what it is we've been waiting for, do we really care? I don't know.
Interesting. So you did it again, Rocky. Another great interview. And I'm watching Skype, and all the guys on my team are commenting like, they all love Nick, and that you guys make us feel like backseat drivers. So if you'd like, and I think it would be important to people that have heard you live and are going to hear the recording, what's the best way for the community and people that see this interview to get a hold of you, follow you, and retain you in some capacity?
Oh gosh, I'm in all the social media places. I'm Raggy Horner at Facebook and Twitter and Stock Twits. You guys can feel free to email me at Raggy, RAGHEE at Simpler Trading. I'm just out there in the on the interweb, so you guys will run into. So
what's your business model now? Are you educating people? Do you have a timing service? What are you doing with the retail public now?
I'm still doing what I've always done. I run a chat room in the morning, and I keep a spreadsheet of my trades out there for my followers. But at the end of the day, trading comes number one, but it just gets so darn lonely. You guys know that. You've got a great crew to talk and toss ideas around with, and that's probably been the one spot in my life where I go, I kind of want a crew. I kind of want a group. We all want that tribe. So I'm just going to build my community.
You have 2 talented eyes, but we only have 2. So it's great to have the looks and the perspectives of a community or a group together.
And that's at the end of the day, exactly. It just doesn't matter if you're doing this in a cave, right? It just gets pretty boring and pretty lonely. So it's good to have the group.
Well, thank you for coming here today, Raggy. It was a great interview. Again, some great ideas. Raggy Horner, the dollar bear, hoping for a dollar rip to fade, and really, again, you proved what I said on Twitter. It was an excellent interview, and God, I didn't even know we were going to cover crypto, and you covered that too. So thank you so much for your time today, Raggy.
Oh, I always enjoy my time with you, absolutely. And it was so cool to meet Blake and Nick. I'm kind of a fangirl of both of them, so very humbling. So thank you all. I appreciate it. Thanks for thinking of me, Dale.
All right, Raggy. Good hunting, and may the pips continue to rain down on you and all the people in your life. Okay?
Absolutely. Happy pippage. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Adios, my trading warrior sister, Raggy Horner. Everybody, thank you very much. Face, thank you, community. I'm sorry I wasn't able to show any of your screenshots today. We'll wrap up the week. God, Can you believe the content in here? Started off with Forex Stop Hunter, and then Steve Volge and Stelios from the ocean in Cyprus, and then Nicola Duke comes in, and then that up-and-coming star Blake Morrow sharing his views before he heads to beautiful Acapulco, and then Rogie Horner topping off the cake. So remember, everyone, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And I'll see everyone next, see you tomorrow. And then we have a long 3-day weekend. Good hunting. And if you like what we're doing here, continue to come back. Face is the place to become a trading ace. Adios. You're welcome. You're welcome, Robert, Philippe, Bob, Kevin, Barry. See you guys tomorrow.